Welcome back to another surprise live of Unleashed Alchemy. So, this is my second live. The first time I did this live, I did the live from my car, which meant the connection was not the greatest. And so, this is my second attempt at doing this live. Let me see if I can make this lighting better. Ooh. Don't like that. Don't like that. We do not want bubbles. Yeah, I don't like that either. We'll try that. Well, it's better than the first one. Not the greatest. But anyway, so we're back with the second attempt at doing a live. About an hour ago, I did a post that I would be going live at 3 o'clock. 3 p.m. Eastern. Then I changed it and said, okay, no, wait, I have to go live at 3:15. There was a problem with the room that I had, whatever. So anyway, we're here. So thank you. If you pop on, thank you. If not, if you watch this later, either way, thank you for being here. Thank you for my new subscribers that have come through. Thank you for those that have been here from day one. I appreciate you. So the thing that I will ask you to do is, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, just hit the subscribe button, okay? Hit the like button, share this video with everyone that you know. So welcome again to Unleashed Alchemy. Welcome to my fellow alchemists, my fellow magicians. All right, we are here. So there are a few things that I want to talk about in this video. Now, if you've been here, you know that I take notes, all right? I have to take notes to keep me on track and to say the things that I need to say in this video. So let me get some water, hold on. I'm starting to go in already. Anyway, I want to talk about a few things. And I want to talk about this phrase that I always hear anytime we talk about spirituality. I hear people say, well, I am new to spirituality. What do I do? If you saw, I put heavy air quotes on new to spirituality, because here is the thing. None of us are new to spirituality, okay? Spirituality is your foundation, that is your base, regardless of whether you acknowledge that or not. Why? Because we are spirit first. All right? As we go on in life, we go from our day to day, we live in each moment. And we start to only view ourselves by what we can see. We view ourselves by what we can feel, by what we can see, by what we can touch. We are energetic beings. We are celestial beings. We are cosmic beings. We are energy first. We are spirit first in this body. It is not the other way around. So that is why I say you are not new to spirituality. What happens is, over time, you start to feel that nudge from your soul that never goes away, that tries to reel you back in, basically telling you, come back home. We need to rebuild this connection. That's what happens. And so then you go through experiences in life that cause you to go within, because you have nothing else to do anyway. Okay. So let me go back, because see, I'm already getting ahead of myself and I have notes right here in front of me. So the question that people rush to is, okay, because I am now recognizing my spirit, I'm now recognizing that there's more to me than what I can see in the mirror, that I have a soul, your soul being your imprint, your soul being just as unique as your fingerprint. All right. So the question people rush to ask is, okay, what do I need to do now? And when people say, okay, what do I need to do now, since I am now recognizing that spirituality is the backbone of my life, I am now making a conscious effort to make spirituality the backbone of everything that I do, including a business, whatever it is, however you live your life. You know that there's nothing more important than your relationship with spirit. You can call it God, goddess, your higher self, infinite intelligence. I don't care. It doesn't matter what you call it. But that infinite intelligence that is not separate from you, when you make a conscious decision to embrace that relationship, you start to ask, okay, well, what do I do? Many times people, when they are asking that question, what do I do? What they are meaning to ask is, okay, well, what candle do I need to use? What incantation, what ritual do I need to use? What ritual do I need to use? What system do I need to initiate into? What books do I need to read? Who do I need to listen to? And all this. Those questions, yes, they are valid. However, those questions are still leading you or making you to believe that you need to look outside of yourself. And that is the complete opposite of the essence of spirituality. Spirituality is about going within. Is about reconnecting to your soul, reconnecting to that inner knowing, reconnecting with your inner education. I heard someone, who was it? I heard someone give the best definition of intuition that I've ever heard. It resonated with me. But her name is, she goes by Tatiana Tarot, and she does have a YouTube channel. And I believe she has an Instagram page as well. But I heard her say the definition of intuition is inner education. Spirituality gets you to go back to that. Whereas religion, the base is to get you to go outside of yourself. Now, I'm not going to call out any religion because what religion it is doesn't matter. But the system of religion says, here you are, and this person or this being that you're trying to get to is out there. Which implies that that higher source is outside of you. All right? And that's why religion has become so easy for people to grab hold of, is because many of them teach you that to focus on yourself. And when I say yourself, picture it as your in lowercase letters and yourself in all caps. That self, that higher self that is hidden, is in your DNA. It is a part of you. You are it. You are the infinite intelligence. Okay? So religion teaches you that when you focus on that, to go within, to follow your intuition, is somehow selfish, is somehow considered heresy or blasphemous. Okay? And not just religion, but what happens is, it seems that when our spirit comes into this body, immediately we start to become programmed. Programming starts to happen that never was designed to encourage any of us to look within. So all of these systems, including the system of religion, it's functioning the way that it was designed to look outside, to look out here for stuff. That's why cults, okay, have been able to easily form so easily. I know I'm repeating myself, but they have formed so quickly and so easily because of programming. So we're programmed to look outside of ourselves for what we need and for what we want. So if we want and need guidance on something, we instantly look for someone to give us an answer. All right? So what does that do over time to our own soul, to our own spirit? It almost kind of goes into a corner and it fades to black. It's still there, but it's almost like we put a muzzle, programming has put a muzzle on our own voice, the power of our Heka, which is in our own voice, our magic in our own voice, the creative power that's in our own voice that comes from our soul, that comes from our spirit, okay? So it over time, that programming puts a muzzle on all of that. It puts our soul and our own spirit to sleep. So now I think, no, not, why did I say I think? I know. Because we have higher intelligence, we have an entire celestial elevated team on our side. But that team from the beginning of time will never force us to do anything. We have free will. It will never force us to do anything. But at the same time, now this is going to sound like I'm kind of contradicting myself when I say this. Even though we have free will and our spirit team, our spirit guides, they will never force us to do anything. However, what can happen is that we will experience challenges on all levels in our circumstances, in our lives, that will bring up feelings. It will feel like we are being dragged. I mean, literally dragged. Some of those circumstances will bring you quite literally to your knees on the floor, okay? Now, these challenges are not designed to create suffering. They are not. They are not designed to create suffering. The opportunity in those challenges is for us to look within ourselves and say, okay, I'm here. What is it? What is there for me to do? Who am I? Who did I come here to be? Okay? Who did I come here to be? What is the essence that is in me that I am being brought to this challenge, this shitty situation that feels as though I am just being dragged through life? What is it? When you ask that question, that is when your team says, okay, she's ready, he's ready, let's go in. Now, now that perhaps you're dealing with a challenging situation right now, and I encourage you to ask the question, who have I been brought here to be? Who did I come here to be? What did I come here to experience? What are my spiritual gifts? That is what, and we'll come back to that. But that is what those challenges, when you go within, those are the questions that you will just automatically ask. That is what those challenges are meant to influence us to do. Now, again, because we have free will, we can just look at those challenges and say, oh, well, sometimes things just happen. Sometimes life just brings us those lemons, but you got to make lemonade. Mm-mm. And you'll have people that will choose to take on that identity, and that is fine. There's nothing that you can do. You can't force someone to see themselves as spirit. This is about you. Remember, you're going within, all right? You have to go within first before you can influence other people around you, if that is what you came here to do. So, anyway, so here's what I want to talk about. The other thing that I want to address. Being spiritual. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that really mean? So, from my perspective, from my life, from what I have experienced, I'm going to just read to you exactly what I wrote down, all right? Being spiritual means being awake to yourself, not just what you see here, but looking within your soul. Being awake to your soul. Being spiritual means to be awake to your true essence. Being spiritual means to be awake to who you came here to be. Hey, Spider Moose, look, listen, I got one person here. Thank you for being here. I have already started the live. We're talking about what spirituality means. So I'm going to get through the content. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me at the end. Okay. So being awake to who you came here to be is what spirituality means. Being spiritual also means to be awake to the infinite purposes that you came here to fulfill. Being spiritual means being awake to the fact that your soul aligned life is full of enchantments. This goes beyond what your ego thinks it knows, okay? Being spiritual means being awake to the realization that you are an energetic, cosmic being, okay? Being spiritual means being awake to the realization that you exist with spiritual gifts that you can access. Not only does that give positive changes to your life, but at the end of the day, positive changes in your life equal to positive changes in the world, period. All right? So now, here's the important part about this, or one of the important parts. When you say that when you come into spirituality, and again, at the beginning, I talked about how none of us are new to spirituality. All right? It's when we make a conscious effort to make spirituality the backbone of our lives, we have to be careful not to get into spiritual insanity or spiritual overwhelm. So, spiritual insanity and spiritual overwhelm can happen when you start to ingest too much information about spirituality. Well, you may be saying, well, I want to know more. I want to get more knowledge. I want to do that. Okay, calm down, I understand. However, when you start to go within, what will happen is that Source will send you the information that you need at the right time. So how do you know if you are tipping over into spiritual insanity or spiritual overwhelm? When spirituality and gaining wisdom and knowledge starts to feel hard. When you have so much information and it starts to feel like your brain is about to explode, that's when it's time to just stop and say, you know what? Let me just take the bits of information that I have already gained, meditate on that, and I want to take the time to integrate that into my life before I delve off into other things. Because there's no rush here. Thank you. There's no rush here. All right. So thank you so much. So there's no rush here when you're going within. So here's the thing, I'm going to use myself as an example. When I experienced so here's the thing, spiritual awakening, spiritual elevation, it is a thing that happens infinitely. It just keeps going. It's just each time you experience that elevation, it gets, I don't want to say easier, but it does get easier. Because when something happens in your life, you're able to say, oh, wait a minute, now I'm being elevated again. So you don't go into a situation frantic because you know on the surface of that is part of another elevation for you. But anyway, when I was going through my spirit, when I was getting back to spirituality, okay, I started off delving into so much research and so much information where it felt exhausting. Okay. And so if you are in fact just new to this, what I would encourage you to do is start off with simple meditation, just getting silent. And here's a side note, that's not what this live is about, but meditation is not about silencing your thoughts. It's not about cutting your thoughts off. It's just about observing what you're thinking. That's it. Period. And it's about getting back into your body, getting back into how your body feels rather than just being all up in your mind. All right. So if you are just starting out, I would encourage you just start off with meditation. Don't even read books. Don't even search for books. Only do that if you're saying, okay, now I'd like to just read a simple book on, let's say, astrology. If you are guided to that. So for example, with me, especially when I was younger, I loved, 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 loved reading about information on ancient Egyptian spiritual practices. That felt like home to me. So when I went through my first spiritual transformation, when my soul was saying, okay, let's reel you back in, I read certain books because it was rejuvenating for me. But then after a while, I would stop, and what I would read, I would integrate it into my life. And then before I knew it, and it was in the right timing, I would have other books that would come into my awareness. I would have other teachers that would come into my awareness. But it didn't feel like a water hose. And that's what you have to get away from. Once the information starts feeling like a water hose, that's when you need to give yourself a break. Because again, this is not a rush. You are spiritual. There's no rush here. But it's about your elevation. Okay? So I got ahead of myself. So let me go back to my notes. All right, so I just said this. So you'll start to notice that your spiritual teachers, if you need a spiritual teacher, they'll come to you. And if you decide, let's just say, yes. So let's just say that you say, well, it'd be nice to have, a reading, or it'd be nice to have or talk to a spiritual coach for a session. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But here's what you have to know. A lot of the times, if you do go to a spiritual teacher that you come across, They'll say things to you that will confirm things that you intuitively know about who you came here to be, what your calling is, what part of your purpose, the many purposes that you came here to fulfill are. So it'll be more of a confirmation rather than giving you new information. Now, does that mean that you won't get new information from outside teachers? No, but you won't be desperate for that information because you have gone within and you trust yourself. All right. Also, you'll hear people say that when you go through a spiritual elevation or a spiritual awakening, that it can feel lonely. In the beginning, yes, but it doesn't have to stay that way. Now, this is no shade to people that choose to do this, but you'll see people that will say, well, in order to find my way back to my soul, I had to go into the mountains, I had to go into a cabin in the woods by myself. Okay, fine. That's fine. But from my perspective, for what I have experienced, spiritual growth is about how you can integrate that into your life. Your life being in community with other people. And when you make spirituality the backbone of what you do, if someone comes across your path and that person is not aligned with you, your spirit will let you know. So you don't have to, I think a lot of times when people say, oh, I have to be by myself on this spiritual path, I think because and again, this is from my perspective, I think they are afraid to getting connected with the wrong people to throw them off their spiritual path. No one can throw you off of your spiritual path. Okay, you're not that basic. We are too powerful to be thrown off our spiritual path. But when you are so connected with your spirit, you don't have to be afraid of that. All right. You'll notice that you'll be linked up with in very positive, very refreshing relationships with other people who are making a conscious decision to have spirituality as the backbone of their life. They will come to you in different capacities. Again, this is not something that you have to rush out here and do and scrape to find, or I got to find my tribe. No, just again, relax. Okay. Go within yourself and allow that intuition to continually to be sharpened. All right. Now I want to go, here's this last point that I want to make. All right. So earlier I talked about programming. Now, I want to talk about the things that you experience in life and how that relates to programming. That connection is such a beautiful thing because we are given experiences to provide us with like this perfect mix of experiences, yes, including the ones that we feel like, oh, I could have done without that. I don't know, but think of it as, so picture a cauldron, a big black cauldron, and you've got those experiences, and you've got the perfect mix, the right mix of any sadness, yes, including the sad parts. You have the right mix of those what we would say good experiences that are actually adding to your spiritual transformation. And they're bringing that magic that's within your DNA online. So you've got the perfect mix already. And in that cauldron, it is the perfect mix, is the perfect medicine that uncovers that magic that exists in your DNA. The alchemy that exists in your DNA. your spiritual gifts and practices that are even a part of your lineage. We all carry these, what I have found to be true, we carry spiritual practices that have existed from ancient times in our lineage that for billions of reasons, we don't even need to list them here, for billions of reasons that perhaps people, our ancestors, either didn't use because they felt afraid or again for whatever reason. But now we've been given this time to tap back into those spiritual practices in our lineage, okay? That and 9 times out of 10, those spiritual practices are going to be something that you are just automatically drawn to. And again, these spiritual practices are connected to our power, not power to control anybody or anything, but we carry power that is rooted in love, wisdom, human preservation. That's what it is for. And that is our time. Our time is now to tap into those things and allow our essence to be expressed, okay? So that we can first see enchantments in our own life, in our community, in our world. All right. So that is what I wanted to come on here and talk about. Do you have any questions for me? I saw a comment or a few comments. Let me see if I can go back. Let me see. All right. Confirmation is about where I am now. Is that what you call resonating with your ancient Egyptian thing? Yes, very much so. And that is a totally different, that's a different conversation because that's heavy and it's a lot and it's layered in itself. Confirmation is about where I'm at right now. Good, good, good. Well, do you have any other questions before we or before I head out? I think the next time that I do this, I think I will do better about scheduling it so that people can have time to actually come on. But listen, hey, all I need is one person. All right. Any other questions? Thank you for being here. I hope that Spider Moose, that you are taking care of yourself, that you are honoring your own spirit, honoring your own soul, that you are allowing your spiritual gifts to come online, that you're stepping into your calling. Okay. This is it. To say that it's an exciting time may sound counterintuitive. It may sound crazy to even say that with everything that's happening, but we've been chosen to, you're here for a reason during this time. I just tuned in to support. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. So I'm going to go ahead and end this live, and do me a favor, like this video. If you are not subscribed, if you're here, I see another person coming on. I just don't know who that is. But if you're watching and you have not subscribed, subscribe, share this video. All right. And until our next live, cheers.